Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. If you've ever found yourself staring at a dense editorial or a really complex news article, kind of feeling like you need a translator just to get through the very first paragraph, well, you are in the exact right place today.
Because it brings up a really common challenge, right? How do you actually decode complex editorials without getting completely lost in all that jargon? It can feel super overwhelming when authors just throw out these high-level words. But today, we're going to fix that. We are unpacking 13 essential words. Think of these words like your master keys. They are vital tools designed specifically to help you unlock and deeply understand dense news materials. Our map for this journey is Vocab Prodigy by Nimesha Bansal. Now, reading a static list of definitions is one thing, but actually remembering them when you're in the middle of an article, yeah, that's another story entirely. So we're going to transform the static list of words into relatable, real-world scenarios so they actually stick in your memory. We're going to group them, analyze them, and make them work for you. All right, first up, Section 1, Breaking the Status Quo. Understanding foundational concepts. Fittingly, our very first word is status quo. It simply means the existing state of affairs, especially when we're talking about social or political issues. So, when you read an editorial about a politician wanting to change the status quo, it literally just means they want to alter the current state, the existing condition, basically the everyday situation we're all used to. Now, when someone or some government does decide to disrupt that status quo, we usually hope their actions make sense. What they absolutely shouldn't be is arbitrary. Arbitrary describes something based on random choice or a personal whim, rather than any actual reason or system. It's kind of like a boss suddenly deciding everyone has to wear top hats on Tuesdays. No way that makes sense, right? It lacks any logical foundation.
Now, what's really interesting about this is you can truly understand arbitrary by looking at its opposites. Think about words like capricious, unpredictable, and irrational. Those are highly unstable concepts. Contrast those directly with rational, logical, and systematic. If a new law or rule is arbitrary, it's unpredictable and capricious. It's the exact opposite of a systematic approach. Section 2. Words of conflict, human behavior and responses.
Often, the very first societal reaction to an arbitrary rule is a clamor. A clamor is a loud and confused noise, especially that of people shouting vehemently. It's a really strong demand for something by a ton of people. Imagine a massive crowd outside a city hall, that uproar, that massive outcry, that collective demand for change. That noise right there, that's a clamor.
And did you happen to catch how the definition of clamor used the word vehemently? That perfectly brings us to our next essential word. Vehemently means doing something in a forceful, passionate, or intense manner. When people clamor for their rights, they aren't just politely whispering, are they? They are vehemently demanding it. They are putting their full, intense passion behind their voices. To really anchor this one in your mind, consider the contrast. The synonyms, passionately, intensely, fervently, they carry so much heat and energy. Compare that to the antonyms, mildly, calmly, indifferently. You would never, ever clamor indifferently. Vehement action requires serious fire and conviction. But on the flip side of all that noise and fire is composure. Composure is the state or feeling of being calm and in control of yourself. It means maintaining your calmness, your equanimity, and your poise, even under intense pressure. It's the direct opposite of getting caught up in the clamor and agitation. In any conflict or debate, composure is your anchor. Moving on to Section 3, the language of crisis, identifying problems and seeking solutions. Let's start our crisis narrative with a basic human necessity, potable water. Potable simply means safe to drink, drinkable water. It's pure, it's clean, and honestly, it's the standard baseline for any healthy community. And this brilliantly illustrates how we can string vocabulary together to actually tell a story of a crisis from start to finish. Think about the progression here. Step 1. We start with contamination, which is the action of making something impure by exposing it to a pollutant, like polluting our potable water. That leads directly to Step 2, a deleterious effect. Deleterious means causing harm or damage. It is highly detrimental and injurious. So, a deleterious event has occurred to the water supply, which demands Step 3. We must step in and ameliorate the situation. To ameliorate means to make something better or less severe. Breaking down ameliorate further, its true focus is on fixing the problem. The synonyms are improve, enhance, mitigate. Mitigating a crisis is the exact opposite of the antonyms: worsen, deteriorate, exacerbate. So when an editorial discusses ameliorating a crisis, they are talking about finding proactive solutions to actually mitigate the harm done. Section 4. Time, effort, and awareness, the nature of the journey. Because let's face it, improving a deleterious situation is almost always an arduous task. Arduous means involving or requiring strenuous effort. It is difficult and tiring. It's a laborious, taxing journey that demands a whole lot of hard work. But hey, there's a silver lining, captured beautifully by our next word, transient. Transient means lasting only for a short time, impermanent. It's a fantastic reminder that both arduous struggles and arbitrary rules are often transient. They are temporary states of being. They do not last forever. Just think of the stark contrast between the synonyms, temporary, fleeting, ephemeral, and the antonyms, permanent, enduring, lasting. A transient issue is just a passing cloud. It's ephemeral, not a permanent, lasting fixture in our lives. However, sometimes we do want things, like good habits or a strong vocabulary, to stick around forever. That's where lodge comes in. To lodge means to make or become firmly fixed in a specified place or position. It's the physical or mental act of embedding or implanting something so firmly that it is absolutely no longer transient. And finally, to really understand all of these global issues and vocabulary terms, you've got to be cognizant. Being cognizant means having knowledge or being aware of something. It means you are informed, conscious, and awake to the world around you, rather than just being ignorant or oblivious to the facts. So the crucial point is, Section 5, Your Vocabulary Prodigy Toolkit, putting it all together. I highly encourage you to take a mental screenshot of this summary table. Or heck, even pause the explainer right here and write it down. See how thematic chunking helps? We've got the state of things with status quo and arbitrary, action and reaction, giving us clamor, vehemently, and composure. The language of crisis tying together potable, contamination, deleterious, and ameliorate in a logical story. And finally, time and awareness with arduous, transient, lodge, and cognizant. Grouping them by how they actually function in the real world helps lodge these words permanently into your brain, rather than just memorizing a random list. Which brings me to my final question for you today. Now that you are cognizant of these incredibly powerful words, will you allow your vocabulary to remain transient? Or will you do the arduous work to lodge them in your memory and break your own reading status quo? The choice is entirely yours. Keep looking out for these words in your daily reading. They are literally everywhere once you know what to look for. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to explore our next topic with you. Keep learning and stay curious.